Now, here is why I said that I usually go back and I change the shape, because now I can see that obviously the rounded edge here should follow the window. It doesn't make sense that the window should be in a different shape. Yeah, we can see that the rounded edge follows the window. So what we can do here is either we can change the window or we can change the shape. Let's change the window in this case because I think the shape looks good. So I delete that edge, and now I will use a spline instead. And I will modify the points here until it follows the curvature I want. So it will be a little bit more pointy than the full scale. Will look a bit faster. Something like that. And we can pull this point a bit backward. So yeah, like that. Yeah, that'll do. And now there is one thing I could show you. Instead of making a cut, if you want to keep the window parts here, you can actually make a new body, and you can use the split body tool, and you can choose either of these as a splitting tool. And unfortunately you cannot choose many of them at the same time for the splitting process. And so there could be quite a tedious job. So there is actually a really ugly way that I can show you a really weird way to come around that. I will click the edge here. I will click R for a rectangle, and then I click E for extrude. And what I do now, I click join. What this does, it combines all these into a really large window cutting tool. So now when I click split body and I click my shape, and then I can click my tool once, and I don't have to repeat this process over and over again. This is especially useful if you have a lot of tools. If you're cutting out some text or something, then you can otherwise sit forever and select and deselect and so on. So now we have, there is our tool, and here we have our windows. And what we can do is we can deselect the body, and we can go into the appearance, and we can choose another color for this paint. Or glass color, heavy color. Let's try that one. And you just drag and drop. Yeah, that's one's nice. Yeah, I actually don't know if it's possible to. There's something really weird going on with the pointer. Anyway, forget that. There we go. Now if we click our main body again, there we have it. And also, of course, we need the driver window. We need to cut that out as well. So we'll make another sketch, this time in the front. And we're gonna see if we can actually see the windows in the canvas. So let's deselect the main body, and oh, that's almost impossible to see. So what we'll do is we will look at the pictures, and we have two small, in my view, really ugly looking windows there, and they go down pretty much as far as the side window edges here, down here. So we will just improvise. 13, yeah, something like that. We will, oh, now I do things a little bit too fast. Sorry, I will click stop sketch, and I will create extrude. I will click this, and now I have to light up the body, and I can just pull this to the front. But remember, we did not want to cut, we want to make a new body. And these are just two, so I will just click that one and the first of the tools. And then I will click it again, and I will find the other tool. There. And if we don't need the tools anymore, we can select them and we can remove. It's important here not to click delete, because that will really screw up your model. Never click delete, always just click remove. And now we also have to add color to it. There we have our glass. Now if you also want to do that black piece here, you can do the same method. You can make a tool and you can split it. I'm not going to do that right now. So let's continue with the underside. And sorry, that was my dishwasher that was ready. So I just had to turn it off. So let's see. I think we're done with the upper portion right now. So let's continue to make the underside just for. Oh, we can make it white as a last step. Paint, glossy. There. So. And just save it. So what should we call that? Lower body. Maybe you could call it chassis as well, but this one I'm not going to sculpt using sculpting tool. I'm just gonna do it in a traditional way. Now, as you can see, we ended up with a black spot here. That's because Fusion thought we wanted to align it with the other model. I don't want to do that, so I will click Ctrl Z and I just start somewhere else there, for example. And I just click somewhere and I click D for dimension, and now I will put my constraints in. And let's make it. Oh, I did not click D for dimension. Let's make it 60 wide, and let's see. Yeah, let's make it 12. And I click E or create and then or extrude here, extrude button. Now we're actually in the exactly in the middle, and now you can see where that pays off, because we can just click symmetrical and we can pull this out. So what did we have? 137.5. Now if you have a track, you would of course incorporate the track, the room for the track already here. So what I would do is I can just show you here. If let's say we want to leave 1 mm floor thickness, I would make a new rectangle. Yeah, let's make it 9 mm. And then instead of taking a dimension from the center, you could make a dimension out to the edge. If you know you want this to be, for example, 2 mm thick in the sides, you could do like this. And down here we want also 2 mm. And just to be on the safe side, you can enter 1 mm here. And if you do that, if you check it out, sometimes you're gonna see how often you have some weird thing going on there with maybe 4 or 5 zeros and then a couple of digits. That's quite often. It's quite common. And that creates a lot of trouble. And then of course it needs to be open in the bottom. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, let's leave it like that. And double click on the extrude again. And remove the things that should not be extruded. So there we have it. Now we have a profile for the track. And this one ended a bit further back. Let's look at the pictures. Yeah. Actually it extends quite far inside. And it's also a lot more curved than we did. So let's go back and let's increase the thickness of the sides quite a lot, so we can make it curved like that. And I will also show you a trick on how to make a complex curve with the traditional tools. So let's constrain these as well, so we're on the same safe side. There we have it. Yeah. Let's cut it out here. We'll make a sketch on the upper side. And what I will do now is I will unclick the upper body so I don't get a lot of weird constraints to it. And I will make... I'll try this. I'm not sure it's gonna work, but let's try to make an arc. Here you see, here you got a lot of weird tickets. It didn't snap to the point. I don't know why it does this, but the weird thing is if you would just click the grid here somewhere, it would snap. But if you click somewhere along a line, it will not snap. And sometimes you will have an illusion. It will look like it has snapped, but it has not. So that's gonna make you end up with a lot of errors. So I click on the surface there, and I can click E for extrude, or the extrude button up here, and cut. And we'll see how that looks. And let's try one thing here. We click these two, and we click fillet, and we're gonna see. Oh, oh no! Now I did something wrong here. Let's do it again. Fillet and this edge and this edge, and I think I clicked the surface, and I should have clicked the error. The arrow, sorry. Not clicked the error. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. Now I'm just sort of eyeballing this, and here we have a sharp edge that we will also round off. Now sometimes when you pull on an arrow, Fusion tries to increase the numbers too much, so you will end up with an error. So sometimes it can be easier to just enter a value. Now we can see that this does obviously not work. Even 1 millimeter was too much, but 0.5 was okay. But yeah, not sure about that. No, let's leave it like that for now. You can, of course, what you can do is you can make a new sketch from the bottom, and you can cut it straight here or something. That could be a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Let's remove this. If you remove something from the timeline, then you click delete. And we'll make a sketch here. Click the surface and create a sketch. And now I will draw a rectangle with here, or click R, and I will click this edge here, this and if I highlight this one, Fusion will know that I wanted to have it there. And what I'm doing now, I go back as far enough so I'm outside the rounded area. I will click the surface, and I will click extrude, and now I will click on the upper surface here. But this does not work because I need to remove also what's above it here. So let's try again. Extrude, click the surface. There we go. Now this is gonna work a lot better. Now we can even mark these and make a fillet like that. And it looks like a sledge. Or I don't know if that's the right word. Sled, maybe? Yeah. So let's see how to make the outer rounded edge and the rounded sides. We can click F for fillets, and we choose the outer edges. And now I'm going to show you what I meant with making complex rounds, because here's one thing that I miss in Fusion that Pro Engineer has. Pro Engineer has, if I remember correctly, over 3 years ago I used it, but if I remember correctly, you could do a radius with 2 different values. So you can have it extend more in one direction than the other. But as far as I know, you cannot do that in Fusion. Or I'm just not checking out the tool good enough. So if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But what I will do, I will make a chamfer first. And the chamfer tool can be used with 2 distances. So what we will do is we will first make a tool like this. And you have to look from different perspectives and play around with the values until you like it, how it looks. Something like that. Now I can go ahead and make a fillet again, and I will probably have to make two of them with different values, because these edges are quite different. So I'll start with this one. And round it off. That looks good. And now we will take care of the sharper one. 5 was too much, 4 was also too much, 2 or 3 was possible. Yeah, let's make it 3. Now you can see that we have sort of a, what could you call it, compound curve, or yeah, we have a complex curve at least, and we did it with the help of the chamfer tool. So we can round off the edge here. We can round off this one as well. Now what you could do is, now you could print this upside down, and you would obviously need support for these edges, but you could print this, and the upper portion you could print like this, or standing on its edge. Let's see how it looks now. Yeah, it's starting to look like something. Let's make the lower portion I don't want it to be glossy, I want it to be opaque. Or if we have like dark gray or something, or matte black. Oh no. Yeah, we'll try like that. Maybe we should change that one. Yeah, like that. Let's just make a track just for the looks. A really quick and dirty track. And I will extrude symmetrically like that. And we need to have a pillar. Let's just click R and make a rectangle really quick here. E for extrude. And I will make a new body. And I want more of them, so I will click create and pattern on path. And I will choose body. And for the path, I will click one of the edges of the track. This is a quite convenient tool for windows and all sorts of things where you want to repeat something a lot of times. And we can increase the number of pillars here. So 10 of them, that will look good enough. So now we have our train here, or at least a part of a train, and we can click here on the display, and we can click perspective. And now one of the fun parts of Fusion is the render tool. We can do, let's see here, there are a couple of environments. Environment library, dry lake bed. Let's see if we can use that one. I'm on a really old MacBook Pro from 2008. Or maybe it's even earlier, so it's probably more than 10 years old. But it's, as you can see, it still runs, so it's quite interesting. There's a lot of questions and a lot of discussions on how much computer power you need to run Fusion. So I think this is a good testament that Fusion is actually quite good with resources. So let's try an in canvas render here and see. And maybe this is too much for it at the same time while I'm recording, but we will start to see at least a little bit what it looks like. Yeah, you can sort of see it coming to shape. And here you can see the reason why I kept the window pieces and why I chose glass, because now when you render, that's where it really matters. Yeah, let's not waste too much time on this one. I will let this run and I will include it as a thumbnail for the video. So yeah, I guess that's it for this